Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I pulled out my Doodlebug Happy Healing collection, as well as this sketch from Page Maps of August 2021. I'm going to be documenting some photos of my puppy, who is unfortunately no longer with us. These are some really old photos. I had these photos actually printed a while ago, and I never really had a collection to create with. And so when Happy Healing came out from Doodlebug, I knew immediately that I wanted to document these photos of my puppy. So I'm first going to start out with just cutting out some of the paper. These photos are of a surgery that she had to have on a mass that was on her ear. So I definitely wanted to pull out that Band-Aid paper. And that's really the only themed paper that I pulled out. The other papers that I used are from the Doodlebug Petite print, as well as that striped to bring in all of the colors. Of course, I had to use Swimming Pool because that is my absolute favorite color from the Doodlebug Petite prints, and I tend to use it on most layouts. So I did pull out my border punch and added a border to the Swimming Pool, and then I also pulled out the lemon color in the Petite prints in this polka dot to add to the background. So not a whole lot of paper being used on this layout. I am going to be adding 5 photos to the layout, and 3 of them are going to be 4x6. It does take up a lot of space. I realized that I had cut the lemon paper a little too big, so I decided to cut it down just a little bit and save that strip of paper. I can absolutely use that as a border on another layout, and my petite prints are almost like gold in this household, so anything that I can save and use for another layout or for my tiny stars and tiny hearts, I will absolutely do that as much as possible. So I think that I have finally got the configuration down that I like, and I am not wasting any of the petite prints or other paper. So as I am getting the paper down as well as laying out my photos, let me just tell you a little bit about the photos themselves. This is my dog Kahlua. We got her back in 2006, and she was actually a dog that I was very adamant that I did not want. We were actually in the process of planning a wedding, and my fiance at the time was very adamant that we needed another dog. He was actually talking about wanting children, and I was not really for that at that time. So I made the decision that we would get a dog if I had all of my requirements met for the dog. I definitely wanted a dog from the SPCA. I didn't want to purchase any pets. I am absolutely a person who is always going to rescue dogs if at all possible. I also wanted a puppy. I wanted a girl dog because we already had another girl, and I didn't want to have a girl and a boy. And so by having all of those requirements, I figured a girl puppy from the SPCA was probably going to be something very difficult to find, and I felt like that was a requirement that would prevent us from getting a pet. The very first day that I agreed to go down to the SPCA and look at pets, they had just released a litter of 12 puppies. They had been dropped off very early. They were fostered, and they were just available for adoption that day. So I knew that at that moment, this dog was going to be part of our family, because having those high of standards and requirements and walking in knowing that she was apparently meant for our family. So we ended up adopting her, and these photos are actually several years later. She's obviously an adult dog here, you can see in the photos. And she had this mass that started to grow behind her ear. At first it was really tiny and it wasn't that big of a deal, and the vet wasn't concerned about it. But then it started to grow in size, and the vet still wasn't that concerned with it, but he was like, since it's growing, there might be some issues, so we might want to have it taken off and biopsied just to make sure that it was okay. Luckily there was no issues with it. It wasn't anything cancerous or anything like that. So we were able to get it taken off and didn't have any issues with it. The photos that I was able to capture over on the very far left hand side, it's just a close-up of her ear with the mask, and then after that is a photo of her in the trunk of my SUV, so I could lay down the seats and I was able to see her. So I put a blanket back there, and this photo I was able to capture, and I know that she is very drugged up and high as a kite on the medication from the surgery, but the look on her face is absolute. She is upset with me. You can see it if you look really closely. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but if you take a look at it, she's just looking at me like, I don't know what you did. You left me at this place, the place that I don't like going, the vet's office, and you left me there, and I woke up to just craziness. She was not happy in the trunk of the car. And then the next photo is a photo of her laying next to me on a blanket on the floor. She was just very adamant that she did not want to be anywhere else except right next to me. She was definitely my dog. And I was giving her lots and lots of attention and loving on her after her surgery. And then the next photo is her with the cone of shame. I actually had to go buy this like a couple days after her surgery. We didn't have any issues. The vet said that we shouldn't have any issues, but she started scratching a couple days afterwards. The stitches were definitely bothering her, so we had to get her the cone of shame. And she also had a lot of anxiety issues, so she's wearing a thunder vest in those pictures as well, because anytime that we had to transport her or take her any place, we had to put that thunder vest on her because she would shake and have some kind of issues. And then the last photo is a photo of her stitches and where they had shaved her ear and taken the mask off. So these photos are just some photos to document that. Like I said, these photos have been hanging out in my scrapbook room. I had printed them a long time ago, but just never found the right collection to go with them. And I love the fact that Doodlebug came out with this collection because there's just so many things that can be documented, from your own kids' surgeries or stitches or hospital visits to even your pets. I did decide that I wanted to do some stitching. There's not a whole lot of stitching going on in this layout. I just did one row of stitching right above the striped paper, and as I was poking the holes, I realized that my striped paper was not straight, so I did have to pull that up, and then I could continue along with poking my holes. I did pick up this ruler. I don't know if I've talked about it before. I had the original Tim Holtz ruler that had the holes to pierce to make stitching lines, and then this ruler came out. It was an upgraded version. It has some gel on the back of it, and it helps prevent slipping of the ruler, and I love it so much. It makes the poking of the holes so much easier. I did pull out my threads and looked through my threads to find some tone-on-tone colors. I added the yellow. I did also add a row of stitching over on the far right-hand side. A majority of that stitching does get covered up with my journaling, but I did add the tone-on-tone green stitching as well. I just did my normal back stitching on the layout, and I did go off camera to do that and forgot to show it to the camera, but it is just a single line of stitching on the bottom in the yellow, and then the green single line of stitching as well. This washi tape I've had for a long time. I don't even know where I got it from. It's definitely Doodlebug because it has the little faces on it. It matches the band-aids that are in the paper, and I just added a row of the washi tape at the top. I don't tend to use washi tape a lot, but I felt like this was a perfect addition to the layout. I'm looking for something to add over on the right hand side, and I do end up adding this sticker, and the sticker doesn't really have a lot to do with the photos itself. It says, "Wishing you mugs, hugs, and effective drugs," and I really added it for the effective drug part because of that photo that's on the left where she's looking at me with that face of just detest against me. So I thought the effective drugs were a perfect addition to it. And then by adding that, I felt like I could then go in and add additional embellishments where it includes the mugs as well as some of the pills that are included in the collection. So over on the left-hand side, I do add another mug to mimic the sticker on the right. I do put that one up on Fun Foam. And then I start looking through the other embellishments and I find this one phrase sticker that says all fixed up, which I thought was perfect for underneath the photo of her with her stitches. And then I also found a sticker that says handle with care, and it has a little pink heart on it. And I really liked that because I definitely had to handle her with care after her surgery. She was just so loving towards me and just wanted to lay next to me and be comforted by me. And so definitely lots of care was given to her after her surgery. And then in each one of the clusters, I'm just adding some of the pill pieces to it. Even though I didn't have to give her any type of medication, I just felt like it was fitting for this particular layout. So this collection has two types of pills, the circle pills as well as the oval pills. And the oval pills have two colors. One is a solid color and then the other one looks like it has like little pieces of medicine inside of it. I also decided to add this little bouquet, but it had a saying on it that I wasn't really okay with for my layout. It says get well soon. So I had to tuck it in a little bit to make sure that it fit and you couldn't see the get well soon part. I pulled out the puffy stickers and added some band-aids to each one of the clusters as well. The little circle band-aid up in the right hand side and then a regular band-aid down in the bottom right as well. And then adding a couple of hearts throughout the clusters as well. I know when this collection came out, I was super excited about it because I knew immediately that I had a ton of layouts that I wanted to complete. But let me know in the comments below, is this a collection that you guys picked up? Did you think that this collection was something that you didn't need? And now that maybe you've seen my videos or other people's videos using this collection, you're like, oh, maybe I do need this collection. I think that it is so versatile with all the different things that happen in our lives. And sometimes we need to document things that are not necessarily the best parts of our lives. I decided that my title was going to be I Survived Surgery. I just thought it was a cute title. I saw the word surgery in the word phrases that came with the collection, and then I thought it would be perfect if I just added the word I survived to the top of it. So I did pull out some of my thickers. These thickers are black with a white scripty font on it. And I really liked that contrast. I really liked the way that they looked next to the word surgery because the surgery has stitching lines on it. So it also has a white decorative piece to it as well. I then pulled out my roller date stamp and added the date, which was March 2nd of 2016. That's how old these pictures are. I can't believe it's 9 years ago. But then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I did my journaling offline and it says, oh, my poor Kahlua. She had a growth behind her ear that needed to be removed. When I picked her up from the vet, she was clearly upset with me. The expression she shot me from the backseat of the car said it all. Once we got home, she wouldn't leave my side. The following day, I had to go out and buy a cone of shame because she kept attempting to scratch her incisions. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.